There we go. What's up, guys? Happy bonus. It's a bonus gravy day. Usually gravy days are on Wednesday, but today we have a special guest, and if you couldn't recognize her voice from the pews,
pew, pew.
It's one of my best friends of all time, Dinah Powers.
The feeling is mutual. You are one of my best friends of all time.
Yes. I was hoping it went both ways.
Oh.
It's always like when you're like, you're my best friend, but I guess I'm not yours. Like you're like, that's a weird. Like, damn it.
Man.
Damn it. Okay.
That's an awkward thing. And then worse is
and you
when
always remember that person said you were like not their best friend, especially like, I don't know. At an early age, remember when you're a kid, you're like, I thought Ricky was my best friend.
The worst is when they talk to you about it and they're like, oh, wait, I'm not your best friend?
Wait.
You're my best friend.
Yeah, dude. Like, we always hang out. Like, literally, that's all we do is just hang.
No, you're not
I
my
guess
best
you
friend.
like Ronnie more than. Okay. I thought Ronnie was kind of a douche, but like, I don't know what he's got. It's because he has a bigger house.
I'm at the point in my life where I don't want another best friend.
Yeah.
I've got some scattered throughout the country.
You've maxed out on friends.
I'm maxed out. I'll take some new ones,
Okay.
Here and there.
Just acquaintances
Friends,
mostly, though.
Acquaintances, people to hang out with. But as far as like real emotional attachment, I don't have a lot of room for that.
I'm not going to be your sounding board to
'Cause
like
that's a lot.
gripe about stuff too all the time.
I don't really want to hear about your problems.
Right.
If you want to go have a drink and listen to mine, then that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's what I do. As long as it's about me, that's fine.
Just so you know, this is one-sided, completely one-sided.
I do not give a shit about you. I'm your friend, but you're not my friend. That's really what I'm saying right now.
Precisely.
You're just the guy I'm talking to.
Why is that so hard for people to understand?
Okay, so yeah, maybe it's just not fun when it's you that has to find out that that's what's happening too.
Exactly.
So I think this is the third time you've been on the podcast. I think, like 1.5. You did a full podcast, and then we had you on to talk about your buddy Ralphie.
Oh,
after
yeah.
his passing, and to
Thanks
share
for bringing that up.
some stories. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just mentioning the times that you've been on. But yeah, here, Alex, let's bring up her dead friend. Remember that time? Haha. And Dinah's left the podcast now. No, but today we're gonna have a fun podcast. It's gonna be a fun podcast.
Yes.
And I did your podcast, Dinah's podcast. That's a real original name. It took you a long time to think of, huh?
I thought about it. I took some time away. I went to the hill country.
Oh, okay.
And I did a lot of introspection.
Smoked some peyote, maybe.
Smoked some, did some ayahuasca with Joe Rogan. I thought about it for many, many moons, and I landed on. I'm just gonna call it Dinah's podcast.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid name. It gets right to the point. You're like
angels.
What is this and whose is it? Okay, done.
It's mine. It's Dinah's podcast. It's easy to search, but people still have problems finding it.
Dinah is spelled DiiaynaH, right?
How do I find it? Where do I find it? What do I do?
I love that. That's
how to walk people through it.
I've seen. So you tagged me on it because I was on the first episode. But you tagged me on it, and so like all weekend it's been like, hey, where is it? Is it here? Can I find it in a book? Is it printed out?
Yeah, and I'm learning, and I'm sure you know all about this as a veteran podcaster.
Yeah.
This is my first week.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just the big four. So you got iTunes podcasts, you have Spotify,
right,
Stitcher,
yep,
and iHeart.
And then Google Play is another one because sometimes, the weirdos that don't have iPhones, they got to do that.
Okay, so the big five, and I threw it up on all of those. And apparently there's about 16 other smaller ones. Oh,
at least.
And people on Twitter are saying, like, it's not on this one. It's not on this one. It's not on this podcast. And I'm just like, whoa, I've never heard of that one. Give me a moment. I'll get it up there. Yeah. I have no idea about all these other podcast websites. No idea.
That is, I guess we're pulling back the curtain a little bit behind podcasts if you guys have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, sorry, nerding out.
No, yeah, that's cool. I always think it's kind of fun when I listen to podcasts when they explain that stuff behind the scenes. Maybe it's just because I'm in it, but like...
If you're listening to a podcast, I think that you might be interested in podcasts.
So, yeah. So, like, you record it, and then you have to go, and it's called, like, an RSS, which is really simple syndication is what the standing for that means.
Didn't know.
And you have to get that, and then you pay for a hosting service, which I showed you how to hook up.
Thank you.
And then iTunes will be like, well, what's your RSS? So you go submit it to iTunes, and iTunes will have to go through the approval process. That's how they post it up on iTunes. So like it took me months to finally just be like, all right, what is one that I have not found that I need to get my on?
Yeah, it's like a new hobby.
Yeah. So
where else can I post my podcast?
So I think we're on like everything but SoundCloud. There's like Podbean, Pod for Us.
Mm-hmm.
Like then people still will always be like, well, is it on Pod 123? I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, maybe.
There's a Pod Pocket.
Yeah.
Shout out to my friend Mitch that told me about that one. At first, I thought he was kidding. No.
I don't know how. I just figured everybody had the same 5 apps. Like,
Me too.
it seems easy.
Doesn't everybody listen to just the...
But, like, I'm glad that they're listening however they're listening.
True.
If they're listening, like, if your neighbor is listening to us and you're just listening because they're listening to it very loud, I'm glad that you're listening that way. I hope
Hey,
that,
neighbor.
I'm fine with you listening through that.
Yeah, welcome.
But yeah, now you're getting all up into it. So you're going to do every 2 weeks, I guess?
I think, I will do bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly, which means twice a month.
Okay.
Because I'm not ready to commit to every single week because I'm new. I'm new to the podcasting world. I'm going to move to Bryan / College Station, so I won't be in the great metropolis of Houston with all the Alex P. Middletons and other guests that I could potentially have on my show. So I'm gonna start slow. I'm not gonna overwhelm myself. I'm also taking a bunch of real college courses.
Yeah, you're being a big kid now.
Yeah, which is exciting and also time consuming. And at some point, I need some employment of some kind.
So let's like kind of talk about that. Like I feel like a lot of people. And obviously, if you want to listen to Dinah's podcast, we've already kind of gone over this there. But I know that we have different audiences and whatnot. But so you worked on the Rod Ryan show, and then
for 7 years.
Yeah, and then what was October?
End of August.
End of August.
Yeah, August 30th was my last day.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't even feel like it's been that long.
Absolutely not.
And then like you traveled all over.
I went
to see the world.
Went on a cross country road trip with my car and my dog Barney, and it was amazing.
And then you're gonna go back to school.
A lot of work. Yes. So I started in school. I took up online classes last summer, and I've just been kind of chipping away, trying to finish my degree. I would like to end up in the psychology field. I'm also interested in journalism because I really like editing and writing. Yeah. So I'm going to try to do both simultaneously. Why the hell not? I'm in my early 30s. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, hopefully. Knock on wood.
And it's 2020, so like being able to do there used to be people that edited, and there were people that would just record stuff. And then there are people that would do just audio stuff. And now it's like, nope, we just need you to do every single thing that's possible. Like, you have to be able to do it all, or like, they don't hire those people, really.
So correct. So in my instance, I'm talking about editing words. But what I think you're talking about is in the radio world, editing audio.
I think in everything. Like in news, if you're doing news, you got to be able to edit all of the stories and all of that.
And I'm trying to find a job. So let me back up a little bit. So originally I was going to just move to College Station and like wait tables or something, or be on the radio station there, but didn't have a lot of luck there because it's a small town, so they don't need a lot of radio people. So on my trip, I thought, well, why don't I just move to a cool city? I'll get a radio job there.
That'd be tight.
But that didn't work out either. I had a couple of jobs fall through in California, Colorado, and here in Texas, and I won't get too specific, but nothing worked out. So I just came back home. And I'm just going to go back to College Station and just stick with the original plan. But on my job hunt, I've noticed they want you to do everything. Rarely is there, hey, we want you to do afternoons on this rock station. No, they want you to do afternoons. They want you to be the program director. They want you to be the boss. Also work in promotions. Hey, can you come in on the weekends and do some sales too? Like, unfortunately, in this industry, I don't want to get like too depressing about radio, but there's a lot of people getting fired these days. There's not a lot of, you know what I mean? And so you have to learn all of these different skills to make yourself irreplaceable.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily just in radio. It definitely happens in radio, but I do think that's just kind of how companies are going right now. Where like, where can we cut something out? And like, well, if this guy can do these two things, then why do we need this person to do that thing? And it's like, you just now like you got to kind of arm yourself for that. Like, well, nope, I can do that. I remember when I was on the AM side, that was all I learned. I was just like, well, I can work this station and I can work this station, and that guy can't work both of these stations. So maybe I'm a little bit higher up on the totem pole. Was always just kind of like, all right, what can I learn that the other guy might not know?
Right. And so I'm, spending all my money on school right now. I'm thinking, let me just get as many skills as possible. So if it doesn't work out in one field, I can do this, or if I can go down the hall and do this, or then I can do psychology, but I can do journalism in the meantime while I'm paying my way for a master's, because you can't get a job without a master's anymore. Yeah. It's just like crazy.
Which is weird that you chose like battle rap as like another side gig that you said you picked up on the road. Like, how did
Why is that weird?
How did
I think
that
those
happen?
Go hand in hand.
I just, you didn't seem like you were going to be in the battle rap game. Was it like, did you go through Detroit? Were you watching 8 Mile? Was that what it was?
My name is Dinah. I like to rap. Yes, I was. Oh, okay. Yes, I did go through Detroit, but one of my weird favorite cities was Cleveland. Have you ever been there, Cleveland?
I have never been to Cleveland. I've never had a reason to go to Cleveland.
Exactly.
And it just hasn't really seemed that appealing to me.
Exactly.
I
Really
don't care
cool
that
city.
much to go see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've heard it's awesome.
I went. Super cool.
You sent me pictures. Every time Dinah would be on the road, she would send me pictures of sport stadiums. She'd be like, hey, look, this team plays here.
I did.
And I was like, that's cool, though, because it kind of let me check in and see where you were. Like, if I hadn't heard from you for like a week, it's like, oh, look at Dinah. She's passing the Blues arena or whatever it is.
Dinah's in Chicago. I sent you a Soldier Field one. Boy, that is a beautiful
Soldier
stadium.
Field is a cool stadium.
My
just because they
goodness.
rebuilt it all inside and they left everything outside the way that it always was.
It looks like a combination between a museum and like an early century Italian architecture arena.
Yeah.
It's like people used to have jousting fights in there. That's what it looks like.
I wish jousting was like really a thing still.
Have you ever been to medieval times?
No, unfortunately.
I haven't either. Why is there not one in Houston?
I think there's one outside of Dallas.
There is, yeah.
But like I don't want to go to that city.
Right,
so.
right. I
You
know that
know
about
my
you.
thoughts about there. But okay, so this is we usually do this segment called Where You Been, where Pat and I will talk about where we've been. But like since this is a podcast talking about you, why don't we just do that segment with you telling us about your travels? So my in-house band, the Ladalettes, here you go. We got our intro for you.
Okay.
Where you been? 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 Where you gone? Where you gone? Since you been? Where you been? Where you been? Where you been?
All right, so start me off with how your trip. Like where'd you go first? I remember before Dinah left, she had a hell of a time hooking up a trailer to the back of your car, and I remember you had to drive out to Conroe a couple of times. You had to figure out the wiring. You thought you got it all. You were like, I'm just gonna be able to plug this in and go, right? And no, that was not the case. So, like, get me started from like around then.
I learned so many lessons on the road, and yeah, the first one was nothing is ever going to be as easy as you think it is, or as easy as it seems. So I rented this 3,500-pound camper trailer. It's an R-Pod for people who know their camper trailers. It was awesome. It looked awesome. There was plenty of room in it. There was a bed. There was a kitchenette. And a little dining room table and a TV with Wi-Fi.
We could call it a Dinah room table.
Oh, I like it. Thank you.
Just saying, work on it. Maybe for next time.
Yes. So I was thinking, perfect place for me and Barney to stay. We get to stay in the same place and just travel the country. We'll camp out in national parks and things like that. So immediately, I had problems with this thing because when they plugged it in the first time when I went to pick it up from the rental place, nothing electronically worked. Which
is problematic, yeah.
Right. So they popped the hood, the guys that work for the RV rental place, and they said, this is not set up correctly. You need to go get your money back. And I paid a pretty penny, a couple $100, almost $1,000 to have that installed. And the guy left wires just hanging. And so I had to take it to another place the next day and get it done. Mind you, this is like 2 or 3 days before I am supposed to embark on this grand adventure.
Yeah.
So it didn't start off well at all. I should have just listened to the universe there, but no, I took the RV up to Colorado, and by the time I got there, I stayed with a friend for a couple of days, and we kind of discussed it. I'm like, man, I think I'm a little overwhelmed with this thing. I don't feel comfortable driving. It's just too much. It's too heavy.
Because it wasn't like you had like a truck that was pulling it. I mean,
it's a small SUV is what I have.
You got a Range Rover.
I wasn't going to say
You got a Range Rover,
whatever.
That's typically not like a towing vehicle, is it? I mean, it can, but...
It can, certainly.
You don't usually see people towing on a Range Rover, right?
Through the mountains of Colorado and for 45 days in a row, I think that I just way overwhelmed myself in the car. And plus, when you're driving that thing, you can only go a certain amount of miles per hour. So I'm going 55, 60 miles an hour. It's taking me like 12 hours to get anywhere.
Is it just frustrating as hell when you're watching everybody pass? You're like, I just want to go faster.
It is. And my chest was so heavy. I was just so much stress. Because I just had never driven that before. I don't know what I was thinking. I just thought it would be easier. I thought, no problem. This will be fine. But it wasn't fine. It was totally scary. So I took it back, had fun in Colorado, took it back, and then went up the East Coast. So I went through New Orleans, which was awesome. It was so hot. It was, because it was the end of August. It was super hot. I went up through Atlanta, which was fun. Saw some friends there. I went to South Carolina, which is where I grew up. Loved that for a couple of days. Played on the beach there. I hit Charlotte, North Carolina, stayed with some friends. Washington, D.C., which is a really cool city. Mm-hmm. The politicians live there. They keep it really clean.
Yeah. I
will tell you that.
Pictures.
And I took a picture of Barney in front of the White House and hashtagged it Barney 2020.
Yeah. That's awesome. Did Trump come out to say, hey, I figured he's a big dog guy?
I don't think he was in town. I don't think he was in town. There was a lot of construction.
He probably
around,
would have
too.
if he was in town.
Obviously.
I mean, if I was in the White House and I heard Barney was out, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go pet him.
He
just
would
to
have
say,
run.
hey.
Yeah. He would have run, invited
Barney,
us to
how's it
golf
going?
with him.
Very good boy.
The greatest.
Here's a medal.
Yes, he would have given him the Medal of Honor.
He would have given it to him over Rush, I think.
From there, I drove up to New York City, stayed there for a couple of days, and that was really cool.
What'd you do there?
I drove across the Brooklyn Bridge, which was awesome, and then I drove through the Lincoln Tunnel, which was really cool. I just ate pizza and hung out with some friends. What do you mean? What did I do there? Not
I don't
much.
know. New York's got a lot of stuff in it.
I just hung out. It was awesome. And played on the beach again because it was still pretty warm out there.
Did you go watch the Today Show?
No, I didn't. So when I go to New York, I don't stay in the city. I stay in Queens with one of my best friends. And
Kevin James.
it's
From King of Queens.
his wife, whose name I can't think of.
Leah
now
Remini.
the joke is dead.
Carrie.
Is that her name in the
Carrie
show?
Heffernan.
I never watched the show.
It was a great show. It was a great show.
I remember. So I stay in Queens, yeah. So I didn't do it, but that's a lifelong dream of mine to go and stand in the Today Show because I watch it like your girlfriend every morning.
Yeah, Emma is like, her day is not the same if she doesn't get to watch just a little bit of the Today Show.
Yeah, and it's like people always tell us, oh, when I hear the Rod Ryan Show or whatever morning show, yeah, it's like I'm in the car with my friends and it makes me feel better. And I really felt like that on my road trip because I was with, I only saw my friends every couple of weeks if I went to their city.
Yeah.
So mostly I was alone with Barney. So when I would stay in places with TVs, which was kind of rare, I would watch the Today Show and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, these are my friends. This is my certainty.
Did you get wine to like drink in the 4th hour with Hoda? Is it Hoda? Is Hoda still doing the 4th hour?
Hoda copy, yeah.
And
with
Jenna Bush?
Jenna Bush Hager, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I knew Jenna was doing it, and I didn't know if Hoda still stayed on it. But
so they just, I'll tell you this, they just have a new studio, and they have live audiences in there now.
What?
That's right. Yeah, they do their show in front of a live audience. It's big time.
I want to go in the live audience. I just want to watch Savannah Guthrie, not in a creepy way, just to be like, "Hi, I just think you're gorgeous." Like, I'm not gonna touch you or be creepy.
Don't touch her.
I just want to say hey.
Don't touch her. Did we talk? You watched the Apple TV?
The morning show, yeah.
Right? I still haven't seen it, but I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, it's very Today Showy.
Yeah.
With like the whole and it's funny because when they're promoting it, they're like, no, it has nothing to do with the Today Show. Like that's not what we got from. It's like, oh, you didn't get that from the Today Show because it's just the exact same thing that kind of happened at the Today Show. Even to where Steve Carell's character, who is playing a very Matt Lauer-esque character, they find a button under his desk. They closed the door, not to give away like everything, but I was like, oh, really? Like that. Huh, where'd you get that idea from? Huh.
Yeah, I knew that.
You get the two anchors that then take over the morning show, and it's kind of like showing how that goes. But just the politics that go on in TV, allegedly.
Yeah, there's a black male co-host that didn't get chosen for the co-host, and he's mad about it. And Craig on the Today Show.
Craig is phenomenal.
Craig is phenomenal. Would have been the co-host.
I like Craig. I like Willie. Willie's pretty cool.
Willie Geist.
Yeah.
He does Sunday mornings now. Rarely is he on the Monday through Friday Today Show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he does a Sunday hosting gig of some kind.
Okay. Willie's good.
Yeah, he's all right.
I get like Ryan Seacrest vibes from him, where he's just like he's always able to like take over whenever he's in, which you should be able to do.
Yeah.
When you're there, but it's just like he's very good at hosting.
Yeah, and he's like middle of the road, not non-threatening. You know, it's all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, next time I go to New York, you know what? I should take your girlfriend up to New York City with me, and we should go to the Today Show together.
So just like, OMG, came all the way from H-Town.
We'll have signs that say "Pass the gravy" and then Dinah's podcast.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll just hold them.
Dude, and then you have to wear like something silly. You have to wear like a silly like pink outfit or whatever, like because there's always like the older ladies that are like, it's so and so's 60th. We came here for this, and look at us. We are sparkly.
It's my 50th birthday. Where are y'all from? We're from Virginia.
We love y'all. This is so great.
We love you, Hoda.
Like I'm sure they get like the same 10 things told to them over and over again. Like it's pretty awesome though, because I wish they would tell me that all the time. That'd be awesome if you always had people right behind you to tell you how cool you are.
People are so excited
Yeah.
to be out there. It's
Yeah.
a big deal. It's been around for so many years. It's a fun thing.
Like when you're a kid, when we were kids, I feel like TRL, like I wanted to always be behind Carson Daly, which is like why I'm pissed that Carson Daly doesn't get a bigger role, because like Carson is my boy.
Carson has a pretty big role though.
But Emma's not a big Carson fan. And I'm like, Carson, I just wish was in charge of everything, because Carson was my come home after school, eat my snack, and watch TRL.
Carson Daly.
Emma thinks he's like bland. He's just not like, he's not got a personality or anything. Like he's just.
I think he's what? No, I
but
think
he
he's
nerds
the
out
one
over
with the
music.
biggest personality. Because, first of all, he's got tattoos. Sometimes they poke out from his suit jackets, which I think is funny.
He's the bad boy of the morning show, like that.
He always knows everything about music. I think he's a super talented host. And he's a hard worker, like Seacrest, because he does the Today Show on a regular basis, and he does The Voice, too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, I think that's on every night, all year long. It's on a lot.
Something like that.
It's on a lot.
That's crazy, like all the people that do that. Like, I guess Nick Cannon doesn't really have another. He's got Wild and Out, I think he still does.
Is that still on?
I think it is on MTV. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a big Nick Cannon guy.
I'm not either, and I think he does America's Got Talent, right?
Yeah, he does AGT, but it's like when those guys do all that stuff, you're like, wow, that's crazy. That like in Julie Chen, until like the whole her husband thing happened, she was doing Big Brother and The View, and Big Brother were not on all the time, but it's like when it was in season, it was like that's a whole summer you're doing double duty.
Yeah, that's
doing
a lot
all this
of work.
stuff like. That's one more things where it's like you can't just do one job. Sometimes you can't just do one show. You got to do 15 things.
Yeah.
To just kind of be like, all right, well, people know you from this.
Yeah, and I wonder if they want to do that, or if they have to sign some sort of a deal.
I bet they do. Like you have to want to at some point, or else like you're not going to give up that much of your time.
True. Yeah.
Because I remember listening to something with Chris Hardwick, because he got like fake Me Too'd, where like. His ex-girlfriend said he was mean to her. He abused her mentally or emotionally. And it's like, he didn't hit her. He didn't hurt her physically. He was mean to her, which I'm not saying is a good thing to do.
He was just like,
but it was like, you were a dick
boyfriend.
of a boyfriend. And like, I don't think that means like you ruined her life. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I'm trying to not be like, I know everything. But then he was talking about how he had never been as scared as he was then before. What was he on with Jenny McCarthy?
Singled Out.
He was on that, and then he got like let go from that, and then he didn't do anything forever. And then he kind of just came back with the whole like Walking Dead, Talking Dead thing, Talking Bad. And he was like, I just remember that period of time where I didn't have anything. Nobody wanted me on anything. So I did the podcast, I did the Nerdist. He did everything else after that. He's like, I would just say yes to every opportunity I could get because I remembered that feeling of not having anybody calling me.
That's so interesting. I was just thinking about this because actually I went through that exact thing on a lesser level. I was never on national TV or anything, but just like all these jobs that weren't calling me back or all these jobs that fell through. And I'm like, am I not going to be on a radio show anymore? Like when I made the decision to leave the Rod Ryan show, I was like, I won't have a problem getting on a College Station. It's a small town.
Not
whatever.
to toot our own horn. It's a fairly big morning show.
It's a big show in a basically top 5.
In a big company that's like it's the number one alternative morning show on iHeartRadio.
I didn't think I would have a problem at all. But yeah, everything fell through. Nothing came through. It was crazy, and I really went through a very down time because I'm like, oh my God, like I really love what I do. I just wanted to do it somewhere else on a smaller level so I could also attend classes and live in this town that's way more affordable than Houston. But it's not panning out. So it did get really scary, and I know that mental state. And you start questioning your own abilities and your own talent, and your own self-worth. And boy, is that a fun, deep, dark hole to go
little
down.
Conversations you're having back. And I bet where you're driving, the whole time you're driving the country, like that can't be. Yeah. You had to have some fun conversations with yourself that entire way.
So I know everyone's missed my mom's stories, so I got a good one on this subject. So there was a job that I was for sure about, and it would have been perfect, ghosted me. And I was so upset, and I was just so down, so much so that when my mom called me or I called her or whatever, I mentioned it to her. I was like, oh, that job fell through. They're not calling me back. And I said it because I just wanted to talk to somebody. Like, I just wanted somebody to hear me. I needed to vent.
Right.
Not because I needed to be told how much of a fuck up I've been. And that's what my mom did. She went off on me. She goes, well, if you didn't quit your job and go on that damn trip, you didn't blah, blah, blah. And I remember holding the phone away from my face, and I was shouting, I'm hanging up. Mom, I'm hanging up. And I just hung up the phone, and I didn't talk to her for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Wow.
I didn't need that kind of negativity in my life, Alex. Sometimes you just want to... I'm not a victim. I'm not somebody...
No, you don't play it that way.
No, and I'm not somebody that needs to complain to everybody. But at that moment, on that day, I just needed somebody to tell me that it was going to be okay. You know,
yeah.
I just needed somebody like, you're all right. You're going to find something. Something's going to happen. It's fine. The universe works in mysterious ways. You don't know how it, but I got opposite from her.
It's not being needy or anything. It is like sometimes you just want somebody other than yourself because like you have those conversations with yourself where you're like, I'm doing okay. I think I think
fine.
I'm doing something that's fine.
This
and
is
then
fine.
If just one other person would just say, hey, you're doing great.
Yeah,
You're doing
I believe
great.
in you.
Yeah.
I believe in you. Actually, that's probably what I needed to hear. Like, I believe in you. You have it. You're fine. Everything's going to be fine.
If Barney could just learn how to talk for like 4 seconds, just like learn that it's just say, you got this.
That
like,
and bring the groceries in for me.
Yeah, that would be tight too.
Because that's hard sometimes.
That would be tight too.
I only have 2 hands. He's got 4.
And it just like, he's got to start carrying his weight. He's not paying rent. He's not working, you know?
Carrying his weight, literally.
Come on, dude.
So.
I don't understand dog rent. Do you have to pay dog rent? I guess you own your place, right?
I do own my place. However, I expect in the new place I'm going to rent. So, yeah.
I think dog rent is some horse shit. Just on a side note, why I'm venting, because I need somebody to vent with.
Here's why. You have to pay a hefty pet deposit, yeah?
Right, already.
Why do I have to pay rent on top of that?
Because then if my dog, so my whole argument when I tell these people this, I'm like, okay, so like realistically, if I had to pay $10 a month for dog rent, then my dog gets to fuck up $10 worth of shit that then you have to fix and you can't take out of the dog deposit,
No,
right?
because that's a separate thing.
Like, well, no, because then that goes out of the deposit. Like, but then why am I paying the $10? Like, you know my dog doesn't have a job, right? You're aware that my dog is not working to help pay for that. Like,
no income.
Why are you charging me? Like, that doesn't make sense.
I don't understand. I don't get it either. It should be one or the other.
Yeah, and it's like then charge a little bit more for the pet rent or whatever it is, or for the deposit or whatever it is. But like, you can't do both.
Yeah.
That's weird. You're just double dipping now.
I don't
okay?
understand.
You're just double dipping.
I don't understand.
So you were traveling.
Yeah, we were in New York.
Yeah.
I headed west, which is some of the nicest people and some of the most beautiful places you've ever been. Yellowstone was awesome. We were there for my friend Kim's 50th birthday. We saw a moose or a bear, which is more awesome than a moose. We saw
both
a bear,
are pretty cool.
a bison that pooped right in front of us, which was interesting.
Oh yeah,
a good omen. You gotta think, right?
Maybe.
And then we got trapped in a family of elk, which was slightly terrifying. However, we made it out alive.
Elk are like scary big, aren't they?
They are so big. I thought it was a moose at first. It was pretty funny because we heard this horror movie scream sound from up above slightly, but still very close to us, where we all looked at each other and grabbed each other like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
What is going on? And then this family of elk slowly walked down to us, and we're like, oh, okay. Pretty sure this is okay. Let's slowly
They're
back
just
up.
checking us out.
Nobody run. They're just checking us out. They're just like really big deer. It's okay. It's okay.
With like 9-foot horns.
And then Papa Elk comes down,
Ooh.
screaming like a damn horror movie, like Babadook
Give me your best.
or whatever that damn
Give me
movie
your
was.
best elk impression.
Okay. But scarier.
That was good. I mean, I'm not 100% sure what an elk sounds like, but that sounds like I think an elk would sound like.
Less like a whale, more like an elk. I don't know. It was very scary, though, and it was funny. We all laughed at each other, but we survived. We saw Old Faithful, and it snowed.
Was it as faithful as ever?
It was, and it's really stinky. There are all these geysers in Yellowstone, so I highly recommend it. It's very beautiful.
I'm dumb, but what is a geyser? Just like hot air or hot water that it shoots up?
Okay.
The look Dinah just gave me.
Okay.
Was like,
think
you
of it.
Dumbass.
No, I really.
Well, she looked. Yeah, she's saying she did. You guys on the camera can see.
I would say that if I knew what I was about to say was knowledgeable. It's not. I would say to think about it more like tiny volcanoes.
Okay.
The geysers are cracks in the earth, and the hot water and steam comes up. It smells like rotten eggs.
But isn't it like acid in it?
Yeah, like you're not supposed to touch the water.
Because I know somebody fell into one
did
and
fall
like
in.
dissolved.
The day after I was there, somebody fell in, and I think they died.
Really?
Yeah.
But then like I don't think they can get you out. Like, don't you just dissolve into it?
I don't know if you dissolve immediately, but it's too hot for anyone to go save you, and it's hot enough. I think that you'll probably die almost immediately. Yeah, you can't.
It's fast.
There are signs everywhere. Do not go past this sign. Do not go past this sign. You will die. You will burn to death. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
so I don't know. I'm sure we'll both get tweets and emails correcting us, but I'm not really sure what that whole thing is. But it's just like volcanic activity, I think.
I mean, it looks cool.
Maybe
that's
platelets are involved.
Probably tectonic plates.
Yes, good
Something
word.
like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Erosion.
I saw Phyllis. Phyllis lives about an hour and a half away from Yellowstone.
Yeah, how's Phyllis doing?
She's doing really well. She has a job on a rock station there. She's got a cute little house with a yard that Barney played in. And
he was approving of her.
He approved.
Her new spot. Yeah.
We had pizza and a bottle of wine and watched our favorite show, American Horror Story, together. I couldn't have asked for a better time with her.
You guys did love that show, or do love that show.
Yeah, we did. So she's doing great. She's really happy.
K-Bear, I believe, is where she's at.
K-Bear, yeah, you're right. And I love Phyllis's story because it just goes to show, like, life may throw you a curveball, but it's probably going to end up being the best thing.
Yeah,
for
I guess
you.
it was right at the end of 2018. Mm-hmm. Old girl was like, "Hey, I'm about to move to Idaho. Can you guys get together for like a brunch?" And we met her up, and I was like, "You're going to Idaho?
We were like,
that's
what?
awesome, but like that's fucking far."
Because you think Idaho, you think potatoes and
Boise State
flat,
football,
right?
The blue football field.
Like,
That's all I think.
I didn't know Idaho was gorgeous. It's mountainous and well,
which
when I
makes
was
sense
there,
because it's in the middle of like all of like the most gorgeous like parks
correct.
and all that
Yeah,
stuff right there.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Oh, it's beautiful. Everyone should go see Phyllis.
But it's like a flyover state to a lot of people, and you just don't like nobody like that's never like really a destination that most people think about.
I never would have dreamed to go to Idaho, so thank you, Phyllis.
How many times in Idaho did you say no, Idaho?
Oh man,
You didn't like. You should have at least tried it once. I feel like
I said it about 3-4 times.
Phyllis,
probably.
if you're listening, I know you're not listening, but somebody tell Phyllis she needs to try that out all the time. I'm sure she has.
Idaho?
No, Idaho. That's great. It's great. It's great.
Then I went to California, and I mean, what do I have to say about California? It's great. Everyone knows California.
Were there wildfires going on then?
Expensive. No, I actually was probably a month ahead of those.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think they were as bad
She
as they've been
started
the
the
past couple
wildfires,
of years.
honestly.
I may or may not have started
All
them.
of her cigarettes.
Nope, I do not smoke. It probably would have been a campfire. That
Not
I
anymore
didn't
because
put
she
out all
started
the
a
way.
fire.
That's the day I quit smoking. I got food poisoning in Nevada. That was awful. I ate some gray ribs. I didn't want to eat them. That was all I had. And I had to. I was so hungry, and I knew that they were going to give me food poisoning. And boy, was I right. I didn't get any sleep that night. I remember, what's the Ryan Gosling, Neil Armstrong movie? I think it's called
First Man?
First Man.
First Man.
That was on in the middle of the night, and I remember like shivering, laying on the bathroom floor, and that was on in the background, and I was trying to just pay attention to the movie rather than how sick I felt.
You watched some show that you texted me about when you had food. Bar Rescue, I think.
Yes.
And you're like,
so,
I know you dumbasses always talk about Bar Rescue,
Yes.
and I get it now.
So I haven't had cable in probably 10 years. I just do streaming,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a cable show that you and Rod had always talked about, and I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are saying. But the day after I had food poisoning, I was in Tahoe, and I had a hotel with cable. So I just spent the whole day in bed watching TV, and that was a marathon.
It just sucks you right in, doesn't it?
It's so good.
That means it was probably a Sunday.
It's so good. Bravo.
Usually
I
they
had no
have
idea.
Sunday marathons. That's what happens in the football off season. I watch Bar Rescue on Sundays, and then I don't get to see it until football's over. Usually.
It was amazing. I love it. I miss it.
Just shut it down! You don't know what you're doing!
And he yells at people with a smile on his face.
He has like the
What is
weirdest,
that?
like creepy, like, and so what you're gonna do here is you're gonna just, and it's like the exact same formula. It's like, all right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just get rid of the beer. You're a beer bar right now, so we're gonna stop selling people beer as much, and you're just gonna market these $40 cocktails I'm
We're
about
going
to
to
sell
give you
you.
one cocktail.
Yeah.
We're going to give you one craft cocktail to sell. All the bartenders are going to learn how to make it.
Also, they all suck, so they're not gonna really be good at it. And we're just gonna yell at them and in the stress
Yes.
test. That like it's a bar that normally has 10 people in it, maybe a day. Tonight we're gonna fit 400 people in it, and then just act like assholes when you have no idea how to deal with that many people that you've ever seen in your life. And they're like, I've never seen this many people in my bar. What? Figure it out. Figure it out. And you're like, they're not gonna get better with you yelling at them like that.
I worked in a restaurant for
Which
many,
is great
many
TV,
years.
but still.
And the last thing that you need / want when you're in the weeds and there's 400 people that have just entered your restaurant at the same exact time and they want you to make fancy craft cocktails for you, the last thing you want is a man yelling at you how much you suck.
Like day one of bartending,
Oh,
we're gonna
man.
give you a drink that you have to put 6 garnishes on, crush up some salt and
Yeah.
sugar, mix it
Yeah,
together.
muddle.
Yeah, muddle everything else. Then you got to put some sprinkles on top of it while mixing it. And also, that's all anybody's gonna order the whole night. So it's gonna take you 30 minutes to make every drink because you've never done it before. And they're like, we
I
don't
feel
know.
like the kitchen guy always thrives in that environment.
Usually, or
Like,
they
the kitchen
find the
really-
right guy usually,
Yeah.
and then they're like quick, and then they're like, we need a food runner. Where's the food runner?
Oh, there's never food runners.
And
And the
usually it's the
bartenders always
manager
suck.
that has to end up doing it, and then he just yells at that guy because he's only running food and he's not doing that. Like I know the formula.
You don't even know how to work your own computer. You don't know your own computer. No, I don't.
But then he always makes them this pimp ass bar, and it's like, dude, just let him yell at you for a couple of days,
and then
your
good to go.
bar is gonna be set. But like half of these people like change it back, like they don't like what he does because he does a thing called back to the bar where he goes back,
really,
and then he like. It's funny because he'll go back and be like, no, this was a shitty pirate theme. I told you guys wasn't going to work. And then like he'll change it to make it something else.
Back?
And then they'll go change it. They'll like change it back. Well, we didn't like all of it. Sometimes they keep some of it, but not all of it. And he just goes in and then he just yells at him again. You're like, oh, dude, you got fucked by John Tavern now.
People are just stuck in their ways.
Yeah, they are.
Refuse to
and
believe.
Then he always points out, it's like, you're not going to make it this way. Like, why are you losing money again? Because you're not doing what I said, which is selling $30 cocktails, which is like, that's easy. Just, instead of doing dollar beer night, just sell $15 drinks, and more people are going to make more money doing that.
In a non-pirate themed restaurant.
Yeah.
That's the ticket.
I'm sorry to go on a bar rescue. I was watching it last night, so it's like,
Ooh,
I'm going to bring that up. But you were in Nevada when you did that.
Yeah, and then from there, I just made my way back. I stopped in. Have you ever been to New Mexico?
No.
It's a really beautiful state with delicious food, mostly Mexican food. It's different than it is here.
It's New Mexican food.
It's New Mex, not Tex-Mex, I would imagine.
Is that what they call it?
They put they put sauces on everything. So everything, either they ask you has what kind of, do you want red or green? And it's not like the salsa here. It's like a warm tomato based sauce, like kind of thick over your enchiladas, which I think is their delicacy there. Our enchiladas. Oh, the food is so good. So good.
So obviously, since you were in New Mexico, I have to ask two things. Meth.
So I did do the Breaking Bad thing. However, I didn't go by the house because I can't remember why. I think the traffic was bad or it was too far out of my way or something. It's
I've
deep
heard
in
that's
the middle
a huge
of
tourist attraction. It's like right in a neighborhood. It literally is in a neighborhood.
It's deep in the middle of Albuquerque, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That was it. I don't think I went through Albuquerque. I think it was too far out of my way, so I didn't go.
See any aliens then?
No,
Damn it.
The food poisoning thing really threw a wrench in my plans. I was gonna go through Roswell and stay in Roswell, but I really didn't feel well, and I just wanted to come back home to Texas so badly.
Not feeling well in Roswell, you know?
Hey, not feeling Roswell. So I just plowed through. I stopped in Santa Fe, beautiful, cute little town.
Okay.
And I took pictures of some Catholic churches for my mom. I ate a bunch of food, had some margaritas, and got my ass back to Texas. I have a good story. I stopped in Lubbock. And Texas Tech. Yeah. I stayed down the street from the school in an Airbnb, and I was out walking Barney, and I saw a hit and run. I saw a green Suburban back up into this little silver Honda, and I was like, "Whoa, what just happened?"
Don't do that.
And this little baby girl gets out of not baby, she's like 17, 18, gets out of the Honda, and she's crying, and the Suburban sped away.
Oh, she was okay.
It wasn't her fault. Yeah,
I didn't realize they were both in the car. Wait, it wasn't in a parking lot?
So it was on. Yeah, sorry, I'm probably not explaining it well. So it was at a stop sign, right? I'm walking Barney on the street. The Suburban is in the front, and then the little silver Honda is behind the Suburban. And the Suburban, for some reason, quickly backed into the Honda, and then drove away. So smashed the front of the Honda and then drove away. No idea why. We'll never know.
Probably warrants or outstanding
tickets.
Well,
no, I don't know why he backed up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I mean, I guess driving away,
Yeah, I know probably why you drove away. There was a game, and you probably were drunk. There had been a game that day.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday.
Alcohol.
And yeah. So that's why you drove away. I don't know why that person backed up, though. I'll never know. But this poor girl gets out of her Honda, and she's like, "Did anybody see? I don't know why he backed up." She's crying, and I go, I saw. So Barney and I walked over, and we stayed with her until the cops came and gave a statement. And poor thing. Oh, she was so shaken up. English. She was an Asian.
Yeah.
So English wasn't her first language. She was on a scholarship. She was a flute?
Or just
violin.
It looks like she's mimicking like a flute.
I am. Yeah. It's either flute or violin.
Okay.
And she had a show that night. It was like an orchestra show, and she was so worried about being late. Like my heart was breaking for this poor little girl. Her family's millions of miles away.
Yeah.
And she invited me to the show. I didn't go, but I thought it was so sweet. She's like, "You can come to the show. It's free." And I was like, "Thank you." And now
You should have told her you were gonna go, and then just not gone. So then she would have thought you were there.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she would have been looking for you the whole night and just been super disappointed, like her parents didn't show up.
Giving me a special shout out, and I know I wasn't there.
Thank you to the hero.
So her insurance called me. Her insurance company called me a couple days later, and they took a statement from me, and they said, "Well, now that you gave us a statement, correlates with hers, we're able to give her the money to cover it. So
Oh, that's cool.
I felt like I helped her out, you know?
Yeah.
I'll never forget that little girl. She was so sweet and sad. I felt so bad for her.
Those hit
and run.
That's shitty.
Yeah.
That's shitty.
At least leave a note that's with your number.
Right.
That says, listen, I was drinking. I had to get out, but we'll take care of this.
I wouldn't leave that on the note. I'll talk about it later, but
I had to go.
Call me tomorrow after it's been 24 hours so I am okay to tell you about this because I may not remember this note that I'm leaving.
Yes, please don't call the cops.
Definitely not alcohol. Definitely not alcohol.
So yeah, that was my heroic on the road story.
So I talked to you about this on yours, and if you've listened to that one already, I'm sorry if I'm repeating
myself.
Yeah,
we're going to be repeating for a couple times.
But what I thought was interesting is like your whole trip, you had Barney with you, and that severely limits where you can go in a lot of instances, right? Like you can't just go sit down in like an Olive Garden and eat dinner. Not that you would, but
unlimited breadsticks.
I mean, I get why. That would be awesome. I would want to go eat unlimited breadsticks.
Bottomless salad.
But Barney would probably want to eat them too, and you can't just be like, oh, we're gonna have my dog just hanging out here.
Yeah. So I would.
How was that?
Speaking of, we just talked about New Mexico. I remember twice in New Mexico, I went to a steakhouse and then I went to a Mexican place and ate outside at both of these places. And I explained to them listen, I have a dog. I've nowhere to put him. I'm on a road trip. So they would bring out those portable heaters at some outdoor restaurants.
Oh yeah, those big metal things.
Yeah. So they would bring those over and I would just sit in my jacket and hat and gloves, and I would just eat my meals next to this heater thing in Barney, and it was awesome. It definitely, I couldn't go into some museums, I couldn't go into some restaurants. It definitely hindered some things, but overall, it was so much fun to have Barney and to travel the country with my buddy. And he was my constant companion and an element of certainty. He was always there. I always had him. That and the Today Show.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear the two dogs, Wheezy and Barney, right now are hanging out under our feet and growling
talking
at
about
one
me?
another. So they're probably just trying to weigh in. He's like, it was a great time. I loved it. It was so much fun. I got to go in the car.
And for the most part, I mean, I don't ever remember him having a bad time. He never freaked out or never cried or anything like that.
Well, it was probably the best day, every single day. Being a dog, I would imagine, whenever I tell Wheezy, you want to go in the... She's right here, but the CAR, if you say that, she's like, oh, what? Yes, that and BALL. She loses her shit over those two words.
Yeah.
And she's in that second. The second if you every morning you get to wake up, if you want to go in, he's probably like, oh yeah, hell yeah, let's keep going, boy, oh boy.
And I took him to the dog parks all around the country.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. Because every time we would get to a new city, we've been in the car all day, so let's go play at a park. So yeah, I'd throw the ball at him. Or throw the ball I'm sorry, BALL. I don't want to get excited. They're too distracted playing with each other.
Hey, guys, there's a lot of equipment around here. Let's go in the other room.
Hey, Barney, why don't you go over there, buddy?
Robert's got, his cameras around.
Oh, gosh.
No, so yeah, Barney had a good time. And then, so how long in total would you say the whole trip was?
Close to 2 months, I think. So probably about 7 weeks. Probably about 8 weeks or something like that.
So... favorite thing and least favorite thing about the trip, and it can be a story, a city, and just anything, even if you've already just talked about it.
Sure, yeah. So my favorite thing was definitely being in Yellowstone with two of my favorite people in the whole world. Yeah. And so it was very cold. It was in the 20s and 30s, and it was snowing. And at first, upon receiving that news, I was like, ugh, that's awful. It's gonna be so cold. It's gonna be snowing and wet and gross. But it really made the beauty of Yellowstone
the experience
that much
of it.
Better.
Yeah,
it really did. It really did. And Barney got to play in the snow, and he was so funny. It invigorates him, and he runs around and he rolls around in it.
That was his first time, I'm assuming, in the snow. Huh?
Yeah, for that much snow. If you recall, it snowed in Houston 2 years ago, and he was a brand new boy, and so but that was what, 2 inches?
Yeah, nowhere near anything like there.
Maybe more like an inch. Yeah, so that was definitely the highlight. Having some friends of mine come and join me, and for a couple of days, and sharing part of the experience with them was definitely my favorite part, and it was in such a beautiful part of the country. And we also stayed in a hot springs resort, so we
dope?
It was it was so cool. There was a great restaurant, great staff, and this hot springs that we could just chill in with a bar behind us.
That's nice.
There was a really cool old school cocktail bar in that place too, And yes, that was enjoyable. My least favorite part was that
food poisoning.
That food poisoning.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was in Nevada, which is just this desolate desert area, but there's Las Vegas and there's Reno, and that's it.
Just about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's Elko, Nevada, which is where the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering is. One person may know what that is.
I know.
You know who that
is? Yeah.
Hal.
Captain Cash.
Captain Cash and his dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's their
They
thing.
went to that. Didn't he take his dad out there?
They go to it every year. And it wasn't when I was there. I can't remember what time of the year it is, but I was like, oh my God, I know this cowboy poetry thing. I can't believe that I've ended up in this city. That's hilarious.
And I don't think Hal would get upset like we'll be talking about it. It's like one of those things where it's like it seems like it's embarrassing, but he was like just the joy that it brings my dad and the guys up there that are reading it. He's like, they're so happy doing that. Like you can't knock it at all. And I was like, that's a really good point. You know,
exactly.
Like okay, I get that. Like that's cool that like. It's like that, like me, that brings happiness like when my football team wins to those people. And it's like, that is the most amount of happiness I could ever have. And it's like, if you guys have that doing that, that's cool.
If that's what you're into, that's awesome. And good for Hal that he still gets to spend that time with his dad. Yeah, I would kill to spend time with my dad. So
Elko,
Nevada. Elko, Nevada.
That's
please.
the cowboy poetry capital of the United States, at least.
Yeah, don't stop at any weird casino hotels that have gray ribs. Don't eat the ribs.
Don't do that.
It smelled like cigarettes.
Hotel, casino ribs, just avoid them.
Not a lot of teeth in the receptionist's mouth either. Yeah, it was. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have. But the thing is, anybody that drives for a living, like if there's truckers out there, you get to a certain point where you're like, I cannot drive. Exactly. You're like, I don't want to go another hour to see if I can find a nicer place. I don't have it in me.
Did you have like a bunch of Cliff Bars and just crap that like snack on?
I did. I had a whole like big Tupperware thing. You know the things that you take back to Walmart when you move?
Mm-hmm. So life hack, if you haven't already heard me talk about this, there are those big plastic bins you can go. If you're ever moving, you just go buy them at Walmart. You use them to move, and then you return them right after it. And like, I just don't need these. And like they take them right back. Just don't break them. Like, you're just recycling.
So
they're sturdier than boxes. They don't get ruined or anything.
Exactly.
So you're good.
I had one of those in my trunk filled with snacks and of all different kinds.
Did you have beef jerky? You had to have beef jerky. Okay.
Was my jam.
I would have been very upset if you didn't have any beef jerky.
And the RX bars.
Okay.
Prescription bars.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of those, and then you know what else I had that I loved? Were I think they're called Smart Pop or something. They're little individual popcorn bags.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, just to offset all the protein from the protein bars and the jerky.
What kind of jerky do you go with?
I can't remember the name of it,
but
it's like a fancy. Oh, like what flavor?
Well, I guess. Well, yeah, I don't really have a preference of like brand, but like I go with the peppered one. A little, maybe like nothing too spicy or anything like that. I don't want the teriyaki.
No, I just like the original. Yeah. If I can get a low sodium version, I'm going with that because it makes you less thirsty.
I care. I'm looking out for myself.
Speaking, I think I was in either California or Nevada. My dad's name was Jed, Jed. Come and listen to a story about a man named Jed. He's a good old Southern boy, right? So, but you don't see that name often.
Right.
So I'm driving through the desert, and it was like 3 hours before I saw any life of any kind. And I was like, God, I'm not in a great mood. I was like,
I bet.
This is depressing. Because it gets so lonely and boring out there sometimes on the road. So I come upon this exit. I'm like, yes, I have to pee. I want to get some food. I want to just get out and walk around for a little bit. And I pull in this gas station. And there's a bunch of motorcycles. There's some sort of motorcycle gathering. So I couldn't pull directly to a gas pump. So I had to pull slightly to the left. And I look up and I see this billboard that says Jed's Jerky. And once again, my dad's name is Jed. I started like laugh crying. It was the craziest thing that happened to me in a long time. Here I am in this horrible mood. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I pull into this random gas station that's called Jed's Jerky. And I just thought it was like a smile from my dad.
It's your dad basically just, hey, it's okay.
Exactly.
It's okay.
Exactly. Like, hey, I'm here, I'm with you. So, of course, I stopped in and got a bunch of jerky. Was the best I've ever had.
Yeah.
So if you're ever in the middle of nowhere in, I think, Nevada, maybe California, stop at Jed's Jerky.
Wherever your dad is right now, whatever you believe in, maybe he's just up there making jerky. Like, that's what he's doing in the afterlife. He's like, I'm going to be a jerky guy now.
He did like to work,
Yeah.
He wasn't a sit-around guy.
He's probably sitting in the liquor store up there that he's hanging out at, just making jerky.
Smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Drinking vodka
Living his
tonics.
best life.
Yeah.
Living his best life.
I can only hope so. Yeah. It was, so that was a fun memory, too. So yeah, thank you for bringing up the snacks. I kind of forgot about that. There's a lot of buried memories from that trip.
I don't think I talked to you about the snacks on the other podcast we did.
No, you didn't.
So
that's
good if you guys listened all the way through then. So.
And then, hey, shout out to Rod Ryan, who got me a nice gift card from Starbucks.
Oh yeah.
As a going away present.
You love you some Starbucks.
I ate and drank off that thing for months. Because whenever I would see a Starbucks, I would just go like load up on snacks, coffee, tea, bottles of water. Thanks, Rod. It was awesome.
What's your go-to like Starbucks drink, or do you just mix it up?
Oh, I do mix it up, but I'll tell you, it depends on the time of the year. You know, I like the holiday drinks. Eggnog latte would be my Christmas time drink. I like an iced green tea, unsweetened.
I go the matcha green tea lattes.
I'll join you in this few
times. Yeah, by our good friends at Southern Star Brewing Company, who I got to do ads for, I guess, in a little bit. But I will. Usually we do more segments than we're doing today. Yeah. So it's throwing my ads up, but I'll just back up. I'll just do back-to-back ads. Okay. That's what we'll do.
All right, we're drinking.
We're opening the new strawberry bombshell blondes that they just recently relaunched, thanks to us bugging them about it.
Oh yeah, I really love it. I was drinking this during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because you gave me some to take home.
It's pretty awesome. It's my favorite beer ever of all time.
It's delicious.
The goat of beers, I would say.
It's not too sweet.
Yeah, it doesn't have that fruity flavor like you would assume it would have. It's got a little bit. You get the notes.
It's like a strawberry creamsicle beer, but not too sweet.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Not too sweet.
Okay, so you're moving pretty soon. That's why we were recording this before we're about to we've already recorded. Obviously, we've recorded this before I released it. I'm not an idiot, but we recorded this last week as we're releasing it today, and it's because you're moving, and I was just trying to make sure I got you on the pod before you moved. But
I'm
tell me
with
about
my original plan of moving to College Station.
Going back to school, sticking with the school plan.
Yes, absolutely.
You're already in school, right?
Yeah, that was never off the table. I always wanted to do, but I figured I could go to school anywhere, and that's what the beauty of online classes is. Oh, it's so great. And you can just do them whenever you want.
Yeah.
It's really a blessing because you think 10, 15, 20 years ago, especially I'm not, but being a single mom or having a bunch of kids, even if you're married and you've got a bunch of kids, or you're a single dad or whatever, you're so busy. You've got jobs and kids and animals and whatever. You can't go to regular classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning. You know, but online classes, you just get to it whenever you can.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so good. And it's really cool because I can just bang it out. I can wake up tomorrow morning and just bang out the whole week's worth of work assignments.
Do you procrastinate? Because I was always that guy. It was the last day.
Oh, shocking!
Obviously, but the last day that this was due, due tomorrow. Damn it! All right, I gotta type a 30-page paper because I'm an idiot that didn't do any of this. Or are you the person now? I guess you're as an adult though. Maybe I'd be better about it, but I probably wouldn't still.
Here's the thing. The answer to your question is a simple no. However, in my experience with these online classes, I've taken probably four of them at this point. They don't allow you to procrastinate like that. I think with the online classes,
you have checkpoints you got to do stuff.
Correct, exactly. Okay. They make it very structured where they're okay, this is due by the 15th. Your outline is due by the 20th, and then your paper is due by the 25th. So it's every couple of days something is due. That's how they do the quizzes and the tests as well. So they'll give you quiz. Okay, the exam's going to be the 20th. You have to do it by 2 p.m.
Okay.
So it's okay, on the 20th I got to, and then they only give you some classes, some are different. They only give you a couple hours window to do the test. So you really can't procrastinate.
Yeah.
So
all right, that makes sense.
Online classes might have been better for you back in the day.
I did one in school that they didn't really It was not at all structured the way you just said it. So I was very lazy about it.
I love it. I love it.
Added up.
It's awesome. I'm excited to be chipping away at my degree.
That's cool. So what else other than that? Is that it? I think.
I think so. Yeah. So
you still gonna come back and hang out though?
Absolutely. I'm just gonna be. I know. I'm just gonna be an hour and a half away, and we're gonna do some podcasts together.
Okay.
And
we can always Skype it in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you should listen and subscribe to Dinah's podcast.
I already have. And Dinah's podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all the major ones right now that most of you are listening to on this.
The ones that I've heard of, I'm on.
Yeah. So all the ones Dinah's heard of, just know that. Okay?
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, why don't we do a couple of segments? You've done this one before. It's the not cool segment. Where,
yes.
I always say if you stub your toe, that's not cool. You get Robert stabs me. That's really not cool. You know, like it could be something as little as that or as big as whatever. And it's just really a way that I invented for me to be able to vent on my podcast and just to yell and rant about whatever it upset me that week. So
I've got just the thing.
That's just how I tied it in. Let's get the ladlettes back out.
Not cool, man. Dude, that's not cool. Not cool. Not cool. Dude, that's not cool, man. Dude, that's not cool. Not cool. Not cool. Dude, that's not cool. Not cool. Not cool.
All right, I'll lead us off. But my not cool was, it happened this weekend. So they've closed. So if you're not in Houston, we have 610, which is just one of the big freeways, and they've been doing some construction on it, so they closed part of it off. I was on my way to Monster Jam for the morning show, and I had to go to an XFL game after that. So Emma was going to come pick me up from NRG and drive me to the XFL game, so I didn't have to Uber both ways. And she was awesome. Baller move on her part. Guys, get your girl that does that. And so I took a lift to the Monster Jam Stadium.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I guess I had heard that 610 was closed because it didn't seem super unfamiliar when the guy told me about it. But then,
Sure.
like, the way the guy told me about it was like, 610's closed? Well, like, what way do I go? And I don't think he meant it to come off as like yelling, but he wasn't necessarily yelling. But it was just like he was saying it as like it was my fault. Like,
right.
Well, where am I supposed to go? Like, I don't.
Sir, I
don't know. He's
not,
like, what's another route? What's the other route that I can go? I was like,
Google Maps,
but like,
sir.
The third, fourth time he like kept like, well, where else do I go? I kind of paid you to do this, dude. Like, that's not my thing now, man. Like, I'm not trying. I didn't say it to him. I thought like maybe don't be a dick. I don't want to get a bad review or whatever it is. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I kept doing the thing where if you're trying to get out talking, and I keep pulling my headphone out. I'm like, what?
Put your yeah.
What?
Your headphones.
And at that point, I turned it off. Like I wasn't listening to anything because I knew he was talking to me. Like, huh?
It was just a defense
No,
mechanism.
what? Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not familiar with this part of town. I don't know. And like, I was fucking familiar with it, but I didn't know. I didn't want to tell him like one way to go was gonna take long. I was like, I don't know. Do you have Waze? Like,
right.
It's 2020.
You should. You're a
have
driver.
Waze, but he was using Google Maps or whatever it was, which doesn't, I don't think, always tell you the fact. Does it?
Yes, because I had to use Google Maps to figure out how to get around this past weekend because I had to go somewhere. I don't really remember where. I had to go like to the Bel Air area, and Google Maps said, "Hey, I'm going to give you a new route because this is closed."
Right.
So I know for a fact that Google Maps does.
But usually I know. I just know. I always use Waze. Waze 100% just reroutes you and like saves you time. I don't know, man. Like, figure it out.
But don't the Uber and Lyft, don't they use their own maps?
I think they can, but I think they have an option. I'm not 100% though, so I don't know. But it was like I felt like he was like fussing at me for 610 being shut down. And I was like, one, like, you're an Uber driver or a Lyft whatever driver, and like you didn't know that 610 was closed. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's his first ride of the day or whatever. But like, I don't know. And then I was like, how is this on me though?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't make it closed that way and then be like, haha, I'm gonna screw this random guy over and make them have to figure out this traffic.
Yeah, it sounds like he was just frustrated and looking for somebody to blame.
He didn't blame me, and he didn't keep going on about it. He figured it out, and then like it was fine. But it was just like, it was one of those awkward situations where you have your driver. You're like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, where is the house that you're going to? Like, I've never been to this house. It's a party that somebody invited me to. I don't know, man. Like, just let me out right here, then I'll figure it out. I'll call them. Just stop fussing with me. Just chill. So that's my not cool. It wasn't that big a deal, but
mine wasn't a big deal either. However, it just happened, and it's fresh in my mind. And I live currently. My house still is in Houston, and I live in one of those developments where there's like house on one side. There's a long driveway, house on the other side, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the tall townhomes. It's not connected to another home, but it's like townhome style. All right? So there's 4 college kids that live directly next door to me. And they're okay. They don't always pick up their dog's poop, but I can let that go. They're kind of loud on the weekends when they come home at 3 a.m. with their girls, but I can let that go. They're broads, but I can let that go. Twice now, the one kid has parked his little car directly in front of my garage. Directly in front. And not overnight, but in the middle of the day, you know?
But still,
twice.
Like,
this has happened. The first time it happened, I knocked on their door and I said, I said it exactly in this tone. Is somebody parked in front of my garage? Like, why would that be a good idea to you? That you should park directly in front of somebody's garage.
As a question, as if you didn't already know the answer, but that was like a very parent thing to do. To be
oh God, I know.
Is your room clean? You're like, no, it's not. Damn it. Yep, you knew the answer to that, didn't you? You wanted to hear me say it.
Is this pot in your pants?
What is this? Marijuana?
God. But I was just like, I was so confused. Like, why on earth would you think that is a good idea to park directly in front of somebody's garage? So it happened again the other day. And I'm pulling in. Somebody's trying to pull out of the driveway. There's a car in front of my garage. I can't go anywhere. The gate that leads to this whole fiasco is closing behind me because it automatically opens and closes. It's closing behind me. I don't realize this, so I back up into the gate lightly, so I didn't damage anybody, thank God. And now I'm pissed off. Now I'm hot.
Yeah.
So I put it in a pipe. I pull forward.
Was it somebody from that house that was trying to leave?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
It was an innocent bystander that lives further down. So I put the car into park, and I march up to the car that was trying to leave that was uninvolved in the parking nightmare. And I guess I said loudly, because I can be loud sometimes. I don't know if you know.
Only when she's angry.
Just give me a minute. Some idiot parked in front of my garage, and I'm trying to get out, and the gate's closing behind me. Just give me a minute. And she goes, oh, okay, yeah, no worries. It's fine. Take your time. And I was like, okay.
Could not have been sweeter.
So I'm assuming that I was very loud because at this moment, there's a kid from the house, the criminal house that I've been mentioning, is coming out, and he immediately moves his car.
Did he say anything?
So I yell from my car, hey, man, can you tell whoever's parking there not to park there ever again? That's twice now. And I'm raising my voice, but I'm not screaming. Like, I'm not being a dick, kind of. And he didn't even look at me. He just scaredly got in his car and moved it into his garage, which meant that there was room in there.
Why wouldn't you just do that?
He just was lazy and did not want to move it in there. So that was my not cool.
That's, it makes no sense. Like, when would you ever park in front of somebody else's garage?
Thank you.
Though?
Thank you. When
like,
your garage is
if it was your garage, maybe, like, okay, well, hey, I know it's my garage.
Correct.
Or it's my friend parking in front of my garage. That's fine. Whatever. Who cares?
Correct.
Yeah,
I have no
that's
idea.
shitty.
And that's twice.
Yeah, especially after it's already happened once. But I guess maybe they were like, she's not home all the time, so maybe she's not home.
I'm home all the time. I don't have a job. I'm home all the time. And I'm in and out, going to the different things. Oh, man, I was upset.
Yeah, that's a good not cool.
I was upset for
not cool.
Yeah, it was like 90 seconds. It was a big deal.
Yeah. Let's get to our final segment of the podcast. My favorite segment that we get to do, the Answers segment. When I was in Mince Winter's third grade class at Farr Elementary in Atlanta, Georgia, she told me that there is no such thing as a stupid question. She told our class that. And I remember being like, oh, okay, well, I have a question. I raised my hand and I asked it and I got laughed at. And I was just told that, but what is going on here? And I vowed at that point, little third grade Alex, like, one day when you're in charge, we're gonna get back at all these people, and there's not gonna be such a thing as a stupid question. And I never put in charge, so I just started a podcast. So ipso facto, I appointed myself in charge.
Sure.
I told you guys, hit me up with any questions you have at all. If it's a high thought you have, if it's something you see on a billboard, you're like, I wonder what these guys say. If it's anything that comes up in your everyday life that you got questions about, hit me up at Past Grade Pod. I'm at Alex J. Middleton. Pat's at Not Pat Dan. Robert is at Robert Barbosa03. Give Dinah a follow. Hit her up with some answers questions at Dinah Powers.
On Twitter, yeah.
On the Twitter. And use the hashtag PTG Answers. That's how we find them the easiest. If you don't have a Twitter, get one. I don't know how hard it is to do. It doesn't seem like it's that hard to do. All you got to do, if you want to send it and you don't have a Twitter, email us. answers@passthegradepod.com, and we'll get them that way. But we do look at Twitter first. Hashtag PTG Answers to @passthegradepod. This is the Answers segment.
Well, if you just answer the question, why just answer the question? Be honest, no big deal. Yeah, answer the question.
Don't change the subject, just answer the fucking question.
Any questions?
All right. Our first question comes from Ashley Wilkins at Buster Healer Mix on Twitter. Ashley with an I, as you may remember. From the morning show. She listens to the morning show as well. And I was like, hey, you should come on over to the podcast. Let's do that.
Absolutely.
You should listen to both. So also go listen to Dinah's podcast, too.
Thank you.
That's the next thing.
Literally called Dinah's podcast.
Yeah, it's as simple as possible. Ashley says, if people from Poland are called Poles, are people from Holland called Holes?
Yes.
They should be. Aren't they called the Dutch?
Yes.
I've never understood, because Holland is in the Netherlands, right? But why?
Yeah,
like why is it Holland? Like, I don't understand it. Like, why is the Netherlands the Dutch? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, wouldn't they be the Netherlandians or the Netherlanders, or
Do they
the
speak
Hollish?
Dutch?
I think they speak Dutch. I believe. I'm not 100%
And they are
sure.
Dutch.
But like that, like you're not Portuguese if you speak Portuguese in Brazil. Like that's their national language, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea about that part of the world.
Yeah,
I know very, very little.
They got cool soccer jerseys, like the Netherlands team. They're orange,
Okay.
even though like red, white, and blue are their colors. But I feel like everybody else is red, white, and blue, and they're like, we're just gonna go orange. Whatever, who cares? They got dragons on it. That looks pretty sweet. I don't really think they have like laws there, do they? I don't know. There's hookers and stuff. You can kind of just do whatever.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
hash and weed.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I could think we call them holes. Let's call them holes.
Is that where Newcastle's from?
Newcastle.
The beer? The brown beer?
I believe that's from Newcastle, like
I don't know why I
United
thought
Kingdom.
Newcastle was from there. No idea. Maybe I was thinking of something else.
But yeah, we're gonna go with holes. They're called holes. That's 100% what they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just take that to the bank.
Sure.
Our next question comes from Todd Voss at as_seen_by_TV. He says, blood donors, reverse vampires? Like, would you be a vampire assistant maybe? Like, because you're just like, yo, bro, here, this is the blood. You can just have it.
Well, reverse vampire because vampires take blood.
They
you
give blood.
Reverse vampire.
That's pretty, that's
RV.
pretty open shut, I guess, if you want
Yeah.
to look at it that way. I've told you we've had a vampire on the podcast. It was an energy vampire, though. He didn't
That's
really feed on blood.
right.
Vodalok.
Oh.
I'll never forget that guy's name, ever. And we played him out with the Jason Segel song from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he does the Muppet version of Dracula. Die, die, die. And we timed it perfectly where like he didn't know what was happening. And then I remember he like sent an email. I was like, I didn't approve of the song that you said. I was like, oh, you don't really get to approve of it, so it's my thing.
Doesn't he say, I'm dead at the end?
Now I'm dead.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I die, but I can't. But yeah, and if I see Van Helsing, I swear to the Lord I will slay him.
You know a lot more.
I
of that
watched
song
way
than I
too
do.
much
Yeah,
of it.
wow.
That's my favorite movie
Just
ever.
knew- It's a good one.
If I ever got stuck on a desert island, my two movies would be Forgetting Sarah Marshall and I Love You, Man. So big Jason Segel guy.
And Paul Rudd.
And Paul Rudd, I guess, yeah, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both of those are pretty solid, though. But yeah, I would say blood donors or reverse vampires.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you want to look for an old Pass the Gravy that was like very subpar interviewing skills, I was not on the morning show yet, so I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing. Curtis had like, there was a point where Curtis was the original host, and he just ducked out and was like, I don't know what else to say to this guy. I'm feeling weird. And I was like, you're just going to throw me into the interview by myself? Okay, cool.
Oh, wow.
I'll just figure it out. But he would just laugh. He would just laugh, and he was sending me funny shit, like making fun of the guy while we were doing the interview.
Hey, you got to talk to him.
So go listen to that one. I think it was like early podcast, but go check that out. Vodalok the Vampire is the name of that one. After you listen to this one and Dinah's podcast, obviously. Our next question comes from Brandon Whitehead at Brando Whitehead on Twitter. He says, which horror movie do you think that you would survive in and why?
Oh, man. Any of them, because I would not run upstairs. I would run outside.
Yeah,
and
I would go the
holler
opposite way.
for somebody to call the police or let me into their home.
I don't watch too many of them.
No, I do. I love horror movies. And yeah, the formula is usually the same. Like either they run into the woods or they run upstairs and hide themselves in a closet or in the basement or something. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to go into an enclosed space where there's nobody to help you. You need to run into public.
I guess one that I saw, not recently, but I guess I'm thinking Texas Chainsaw Massacre is coming to my head right now.
Sure.
Definitely not recent, but like when they're like, hey, we should go check out this place, I would be like, I'm not doing that, guys. I'm going to go the other way.
Yeah, I'm going to just...
Let's not go to this creepy abandoned house.
Yeah, that's another rule.
Like, I feel like I'd be pretty good at being that guy. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. know.
Even if you ran out of gas, it's
Terrible.
still not
Guys,
that house.
we could walk somewhere else. Like
I'm gonna wait for AAA.
This house isn't gonna get done, man.
Right.
This guy doesn't seem at all like it's gonna have the answers. If
Correct.
it does, and we're probably all gonna die from this and be hung up on hooks. So that's probably what I would go. Robert, do you have one that you would go with?
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place. Oh, what would
You'd
you
be
just
really good
wouldn't-
at that.
Yeah, you just wouldn't talk. I definitely wouldn't make it. Dinah wouldn't make it either.
Not
we would be
for
dead
a
so
minute.
fast.
We'd be laughing at
We'd
each
be dead
other
so
in a
fast.
heartbeat. Oh God, yeah.
I saw they're gonna make maybe a second one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen the first one.
Oh, okay. Its first one's good. It took me a while to see it, but it was
Yeah,
just
it's good. You
weird
should
because
see
he's
it.
still always gonna be Jim to me. You know, it's like when I see Steve Carell in anything, like in that morning show that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like he's got his Steve Carell voice. Like he sounds like Steve Carell, just like Michael Scott did. So it's like there's so many times he delivers it. I'm like, I feel like it's Michael Scott talking to me. Like he's got to have some punchline at the end. Nope. Okay. He's talking about Me Too stuff.
Yep.
Weird.
Yep.
I feel like I shouldn't be associating with Mike Scott and all that stuff too. But
Yeah, it's hard to differentiate.
so, yeah, I would go Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, moving on. Our next one comes from Stephen Bragg, who emailed in and said, "The soft shell turtle, a house of cards." Isn't a house of cards something that's it's gonna fall apart real fast or like break or not work out?
Fragile.
Yeah. I would assume it's way more fragile than a hard shell turtle or just a regular turtle. You know. A soft shell just doesn't seem like why have a soft shell? Why even have a shell? Just get a hard shell or don't get a shell at all.
I mean, you don't have to be mean to the turtle. He's
But
doing the
like
best
he can't hear me
How do you know? He might
because
be a listener.
turtles don't listen to podcasts.
You don't know that.
I've never heard or had one turtle reach out to me
It doesn't
and
mean
say
that they
that
don't
they're
exist.
an avid fan.
You don't know anything about the Netherlands either, but it doesn't mean it doesn't
I
exist.
mean, I would say like a soft, it's like I would say a soft shell crab though, because they're smaller, so it's like they're easier to like get fucked up. But like a soft shelled turtle, I didn't even know was a thing, or if it is a thing, they could be sending us on a wild goose
I don't
chase
know.
over here. But I would say that a soft shelled turtle is 100% a house of cards.
Soft-shelled crab is definitely a thing. It's a
Oh, I
delicious
knew that
delicacy.
is. I've had soft shell crab,
Yeah.
but it's like that's smaller than a turtle. Like a turtle is usually a little bit bigger than a crab, I would assume. So I feel
I
like
would imagine, yeah.
he gets a little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I would say it's definitely that's a house of cards situation.
Sure.
I just like the way that was worded.
Yeah.
Soft shell turtles, house of cards. Yeah.
Okay.
Or does it mean like? Are you talking like Kevin Spacey? Like.
Oh.
I don't think that's what. I don't think soft shell turtles do that. They would.
They don't
no,
mean to.
that's not what they do. They're not that. That's not what they do.
No.
That's not what they do. All right, our final question of the podcast comes from our girl that we've never been able to locate. We have no idea. She's never told us her last name. She doesn't have a Twitter. She's never showed up to any of our events, but she sometimes just weighs in. Cassie J, the Squatch God. Don't know what Squatch God means. We've asked. She just won't tell us.
Huh.
She will not tell us. She's Cassie J, the Squatch God, but she listens, so we love you, Cassie.
Yeah, thank you.
But Cassie J, the Squatch God says, why would Cinderella's shoe fall off if it fits her perfectly? Which it took me a second there. I was like, you're right. Like, cause like, well, it'll find her foot perfectly. Like, that's the only way you can tell. It's like, well, then why did it fall off? Like, maybe she take it off? Cause I know girls do take off their shoes sometimes. Was it just uncomfortable? But if it fit perfectly, it probably wouldn't be uncomfortable, would it?
Right. Like if you're wearing high heels for a long time, you know, things start to ache in the foot region. So you take them off. But
Like a glass slipper seems like it's something you don't want to take off very often because that's very breakable
if it fits
anyways.
perfectly, why did it fall off? That's a good question.
Yeah, I would just say like Cinderella's kind of thirsty and just wanted like this Prince Charming guy to kind of find her. Unfortunately for her, it all backfired a little bit, and then like she turned into a pumpkin or whatever the fuck it was. I don't remember.
I think
exactly.
the carriage turned into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
She turned back into
a maid.
A maid. Yeah.
A peasant.
A poor maid peasant person.
Yeah, I would like. I guess I should have like.
But it all turns
looked
around
up
at the end.
Yeah, it works out.
Yeah.
It works out. They get married. So I think she was just a little thirsty. Maybe she was just trying to be like, all right, this Prince guy, I need to string him along a little bit.
Right.
And she just hoped that would work out. Terrible like method trying to find a guy. I would not recommend that. Like if I had a daughter and she was like, I really like this guy, I was like, definitely don't leave your shoe and expect him to find you like with that. Like I don't think that's gonna be it.
Well, we're a scientific podcast, aren't we?
Exactly.
We try to be.
We try to be.
We're
So
pretty
what if,
scientific.
because she was out dancing all night.
Right.
Her feet got sweaty,
Feet do get
slippery.
They get slippery in those slippery slippers.
Mm-hmm. And so it just fell off that way.
Yeah, okay, but if we're being scientific, then if your feet are
Which we
sweaty,
are.
they're hot, which sometimes they swell
And
when
glass.
they get warm.
Does glass move? I don't know how it works. I'm trying to be scientific, and I'm just not. I'm about to say something stupid, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm gonna back off on
haven't
that one.
already said it, but yeah, I don't know. Like, and like that just seems like a whole like shitty situation you got in the first place. Like, why would your shit have to turn back at midnight? Like, why not just get a longer lasting spell or whatever the fuck it was? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just get some regular slippers, man. I don't know. Dr. Scholl's. Write your name in them.
I think it worked out the way.
Put your
it's supposed
name
to.
in your shoes.
Right.
And then they'll be able to find them. Like, write your name on the bottom of it, like Andy did on Woody, and then you'll be able to find it.
That's scientific.
Fun fact: when my first week on the Rod Ryan show, Dinah and I made a tattoo bet, and Dinah still, like, for those of you who don't know, Dinah still has my name on her arm. And if I lost, I was going to get Dinah. I was going to get you to write your name like Andy on the bottom of my foot, and I knew it was going to hurt, but I was like, that would just be funny to like, okay.
Oh yeah.
And then you can kind of pick and choose who sees the bottom of your foot.
Yeah.
More so than your arm.
Yeah, I did it on the inside of my bicep on my left arm because at the time I was thinking I was going to get a tattoo on my inside left arm bicep. However, I never ended up doing that. I decided not to. So I still have Alex tiny tattooed in white ink on my
And now you
arm.
can't ever like get another tattoo.
No, I'm not.
Then.
I'm probably
You
not
have to
ever.
leave it.
Yeah, I'm probably never gonna do anything
You
with
should
it.
just get it in color, honestly. Now, like,
No, I was gonna
you
say
should make a whole thing.
I'm probably not gonna do anything with it because it's hardly noticeable.
But Alex is my best friend in the whole entire world, and I love him so much, and I'm so happy that we're best friends forever.
in black.
Just
on
do
my
that,
arm?
yeah.
No.
And I'll get Dinah. I'll get the exact opposite, but I'll put Dinah. Like, we'll do the same thing.
I have like a fantasy of hooking up with a guy and him saying, "Wait a second, why do you have Alex tattooed on your arm?" Like, don't worry about it. He's my best friend. It's no big deal.
So just go with it. He's my best friend.
Do you not have your best friend?
You don't have your best friend?
Tattooed
Doesn't
on your
everybody
arm?
get their best friend tattooed on their arm?
That's what I did. Guess he's not your
That
real
was
best
just
friend.
funny because I was like, I think we're gonna get along. First week on the job, like, you know, it was a Pacquiao Mayweather fight. And it was like, she was like, you're gonna make it. I don't know who brought it up, but we were like, all right.
It was me. Listen, I was going through a tough time at the moment. At the
She just wanted a tattoo, I think.
time of my life. Oh God, yeah. I was a little tattoo crazy, and I just bleh, said it, and I am true to my word.
Yeah, and she did it.
And we watched that Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather fight together
In my really like
at your house.
crappy apartment.
It was, yeah.
I walked you to your car because I was terrified you were gonna get
Oh,
stabbed
it was
in the parking lot.
so sketchy.
Robert, you never had to go to that place. That was,
It was really sketchy.
That was a bad place.
And
It burned down like
good.
a month after I guess not our place, but like the place right next to it caught on fire.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm glad I didn't live there still.
Probably for the best, but yeah.
Security guard got like shot.
That was a tough place.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've moved on and up.
Yeah, it's baby steps.
Yep.
Baby steps. But yeah, Cinderella's shoe shouldn't have fallen off of her. I would say she probably took it off at some point, and we just think she's thirsty. That's really what we're gonna go with. And I guess they didn't really answer your question, but it sort of did.
Yeah.
It sort of did. So that's it. That's all it is. Thank you for coming on the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Dinah's podcast. Go
Yes.
listen to it.
All the major networks.
All the major networks and Comedy Central. And on Comedy Central. And at Dinah Powers on Twitter. I'm going to miss you moving, but like
I'll be around.
You got to keep coming back.
Yeah,
you gotta keep
definitely.
coming back. We'll have you on the pod again. And I love you, buddy.
I love you too.
Love ya. You guys have a great Monday. And we'll talk to you guys on Wednesday for episode 328. I have no idea. Like, I've only done this for 1 million episodes. So for episode 328, we'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Until then, pass the gravy, yeah, bitches.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Cocaine quarter beats, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison.